Just because you didn't make it, you think nobody can make it. This is the crown of ignorance. When people think, whatever I do not know cannot exist, this is the crown of ignorance. So all this controversy is because a lot of people are wearing this crown of ignorance. This is the crown of ignorance. When people think, whatever I do not know cannot exist, this is the crown of ignorance. So all this controversy is because a lot of people are wearing this crown of ignorance. There was a time when people worked with the instrument of belief, when the human intellect was in a certain way. Today it is time there is substantial intellect on the planet. Today it is time that we establish a certain level of seeking in a human being rather than just pumping him up with belief.
Why do people believe you?
Who said they believe me?
This is a huge full house.
No, they're looking…
Everybody is
they're
clapping.
sitting there evaluating every word that I say. I don't think they believe whatever I say. To me, they look smart enough to understand and evaluate.
I have performed in this auditorium, it's never been so full. So there has to be something in their belief in you which makes them look up at you. Why do they trust you? Why do they believe in you so much?
Now let's take off the word belief. Yes, they trust me.
Okay, my word may be different. Do you think that Sadhguru has powers which you don't have?
They can't ride a motorcycle like me, I'm sure.
What are those powers? What makes you different? What makes you special? What makes Pallavi Gupta writing a book on you and calling it you? What makes people over here, so many people I know who will not come to a function like this, they are here and they are here on time. What is it in you that makes you different?
Because they know if they don't come on time, I won't let them in.
But they dare not do that. So what makes you different?
So what is different? It is not a question of something being different. When you don't try to be special, when you just live as life is, that you don't try to make yourself special, because wanting to be special is coming from a certain an emptiness or a certain inadequacy within a human being. Where is the need to be special? Every human being is unique in his own way. If he tries to be special, he'll only end up aping somebody, he will not be himself. So, when the life is unique, every leaf on the planet is unique, every atom in the existence is unique, where is the need for you to be special? Being unique is better than being special, isn't it?
You have not yet answered my question. I feel that it's important for me to know.
Yes, right
What
now.
is unique about you?
See, the very nature of the existence is like this, the very nature of what's happening around you is like this. If you convert mud into food, we call this agriculture. It's the same mud. Can you eat the mud? Can you take it on your plate and eat it? No. But if you wait, you put a seed and wait, the same mud becomes food, and how we value it and eat it. But it is something else, but when you eat it, it becomes flesh and bone, it becomes you, and it's so valuable for you and so many other people. So this is the way of the life. What is filth will become a flower, if only you mature it in the right direction. This flower, its beauty and its fragrance comes from filth. The more filth you put at the root, better the flowers will grow. So, the question is not about what is different, the question is not about what is special, the question is just about, will you allow yourself to mature or will you let yourself just roll in filth? It is perfectly all right for people to create a god. This is the thing about this culture. Here we have 33 million gods and goddesses, because this is the only culture which understood God is our making. There's something called as Ishta Devata. You can create your own god today. If you can look at all the existing gods, if you don't like them, you can make your own god, a tree in your garden, a rock in your garden, your mother, your wife, anybody you want, or whatever you want. You like this vessel, you can make this your god. Nobody thinks anything weird about it in this country because we understand this is our making. After all, in every piece of creation, the hand of the Creator is there. Whatever you can relate to, you use that, it's perfectly fine. After all, in every piece of creation, the hand of the Creator is there. Whatever you can relate to, you use that, it's perfectly fine. All the fight in the world is between one man's belief versus another man's belief. If you saw, I really do not know, you wouldn't fight with anybody. Because you believe one thing and somebody believes something else, you're invariably going to fight today or tomorrow. It's just a question if you can manage them for some time. Someday it'll spill out on the street.
Religions and all the religions and Islam among all the other religions are dealing with human beings. And if you deal with human beings, you deal with violence and you deal with peace. You deal with violence because human beings by definition have to do with violence. They have to deal with aggressivity, with wars. And to expect from a religion not to tackle the issue is just to dream of something which is not going to happen. All the spirituality, go for Buddhism or go for the Bhagavad Gita, you deal with violence. So this is it. Now, what is the answer coming from religions and from trance when it comes to violence and to peace? This is the right question for me. Do we have something which is coming and helping us to go towards peace? This is, for me, the right question. The problem is not the book, the problem is the reader. Because I don't like all these intellectuals and philosophers and even journalists. They are very keen on understanding the complexity of philosophies and the simplicity of religions. That's not right. And the one to blame sometimes are the religious people themselves, because the way they present their religion is something which is all of dream and hopes and not dealing with the reality, which is a complex reality. This is exactly the case for all the philosophies. All the people who are promoting human rights, we all have to do something which is out of humility to check our people. Because with the best means, you can promote the bad or the worst attitude. In the name of human rights, we want to kill people. In the name of human rights, we can promote and support the war in Iraq and Afghanistan, where so many innocent people have been killed. And I said it from the very beginning, never forget that the blood of an Afghani or Iraqi innocent man or woman is as valuable as the blood of an American innocent man and woman. No discussion about this. So the best ideology in the name of human rights, in the name of democracy, could be used by people to promote the worst. So let us be humble, instead of criticizing one religion and one ideology, to know that in our universe of reference, you will find people using our texts, our values, sometimes for the good and sometimes for the bad, sometimes for peace and sometimes for war, sometimes for dignity and sometimes for money, sometimes for protecting freedom and sometimes for geostrategic interests. It's not right to essentialize by saying, oh, all the wars on human rights, for human rights, or all these philosophies are right or wrong, or promoting a philosophy or a religion of violence. I think that these kind of conclusions are very dangerous.
Do you believe that there is a God?
Let's come to this. Before we handle God, let's handle belief first. Why do you believe something? One believes something because they are not sincere enough to admit that they do not know. There are only two ways to be. Either you know something or you do not know something. But whatever you do not know, when you bullshit yourself, it's called as belief. Instead of simply admitting, I do not know, you want to believe something. Somebody believes there is God, somebody believes there is no God. Both are in the same boat. They think they're different, but both of them are not straight enough to admit that they do not know. What is the problem in seeing what I do not know as I do not know? They have a problem because they do not understand the immensity of I do not know. I do not know is a tremendous possibility. Only if you see I do not know, the possibility of knowing arises within you. If you see I do not know, the longing to know will come. If the longing comes, seeking will come. If seeking comes, the possibility is alive in your life. Everything that you do not know, if you believe, you're destroying the very possibility of knowing. There are belief systems and belief systems and belief systems. But at the same time, the idea of God is universal.
But there are majority of people forget who they are. I'll give you an example. A person says, I am a Christian, I am a Jew, I am a Hindu, whatever they say they are. If you ask them the question, why are you of that particular religion? The common response is this: oh, because my parents are. I was brought up that way. Do you think this person knows who they really are? If I say to you, I am a Muslim because my parents are Muslim, do I know who I am? Do I know why I'm a Muslim? Do I know what I'm meant to be doing? If I knew what I was meant to be doing, do I believe in what I'm doing? Or am I doing it to please my parents now? Or am I doing it to please my culture? Or my people that are looking at me? Or the members in the masjid who see me going there? Or am I doing it to just put on a show to my family? The first sign of this hypocrisy is that when I'm alone, I have a different identity. When I am alone, I watch things which I don't watch in the day. When I am alone, I listen to things people don't know that I listen to. When I am alone, I am happy that no one is watching me. So when you ask a person, why are you a Muslim? I wonder how many people can give a proper answer.
Is that all of us who were born into Islam, according to Al-Ghazali, then you are not true Muslims. Why? Because you're just blind followers. You're just like sheep that's been herded, camels just being herded away. You're not thinking Muslims. And this is one of the things that Ghazali, for example, he writes in his autobiography, his semi-autobiography is called Al-Munqidh min al-Dalal. He writes in it that I looked at the world around me and I noticed that the children of Muslims are always Muslims. And the children of Christians are always Christians. And the children of Jews are Jews, and the children of Parsis and Zoroastrians are Zoroastrians. And so I began to wonder, why am I a Muslim? Why am I so sure that Islam is true? What if I'm a Muslim just because my parents were Muslim. And for those of you who are in college or university, you should know of this name of this Western philosopher, Descartes. Descartes is considered to be the founder of modern Western philosophy, one of the pillars of the Renaissance. He's considered to be the founder of basically the modern system of thinking and the world that we live in. Descartes is considered to be the first person who began that trend. And Descartes was clearly influenced by Al-Ghazali. Al-Ghazali's writings were translated and Descartes read them, and Descartes has a very similar type of autobiography in which he says exactly this, that I looked around me and I noticed the children of Christians are Christians and the children of Jews are Jews, and I began to wonder, why am I a Christian? Exact same thing that Ghazali had written 100 years before, 250 years before, Descartes began writing as well. And then his doubt went even more extreme, right? What is Descartes famous for? Who amongst you knows? What is Descartes famous for? That one phrase. There's one phrase he's famous for. I know some of you have read this. Cogito ergo sum. I think therefore I am. So you have heard of this, right? I think therefore I am. Descartes even began to doubt, do I exist or not? How do I know I exist? Right? This is stupidity, foolishness. You don't even know you exist, and he has to prove he exists. So my point being, though, Western philosophy as well has a lot to do with Islamic philosophy. This is Ghazalian thinking. Who are the people that challenged Ghazali? Ibn Taymiyyah took on this misunderstanding. And he said Ghazali's main problem was that he completely ignored the fitrah. And the fact of the matter is, Ghazali's analysis of the problem is spot on. He's absolutely right in saying, how do you know Islam is true? Right? But his answer was wrong. The question is a very important one. But his answer is wrong. And his answer ignores the issue of the fitrah. So in the next 20 minutes, I want to talk a little bit about the fitrah. Fitrah comes from the Arabic word fatara. Fatara. And one of Allah's names is Fatir. And what does Fatir mean? Originator is a better term, right? Originator. And Fatara literally means to open up, to cleave open. Like as if you cut something open, you open it up, Fatara. And the fitrah therefore is something, it is as if Allah opened us up and put something inside of us. The fitrah, it's as if Allah opened us up and He put something inside of us. It's something we are ingrained. It's our intuition. It's already within us. And Allah mentions the fitrah, and our Prophet ﷺ mentions the fitrah in a number of verses and a hadith. The most important is Surah Ar-Rum verse 30. Surah Ar-Rum verse 30, where Allah says in the Quran, فِطْرَةَ اللَّهِ الَّتِي فَطَرَ النَّاسَ عَلَيْهَا. That Allah says there's a fitrah that Allah has created mankind upon. فِطْرَةَ اللَّهِ الَّتِي فَطَرَ النَّاسَ عَلَيْهَا. There is a fitrah that Allah has created mankind upon. And there are other indirect references to the fitrah in the Quran. The verse that I told you, Surah Rum verse 30, is the most explicit reference. There are indirect references. Of them is صِبْغَةَ اللَّهِ وَمَنْ أَحْسَنُ مِنَ اللَّهِ صِبْغَةً. What does Sibgha mean? Sibgha is what the Christians do when they convert to Christianity, the baptism. And Allah says there's a baptism that is the baptism of Allah, Sibghat Allah. وَمَنْ أَحْسَنُ مِنَ اللَّهِ صِبْغَةً. And who can baptize better than Allah? In other words, what the Christians do, they have their Sibgha. Allah is saying, I have given you a Sibgha that is better than what they do. Sibghat Allah. And it's been translated as baptism of God, but what does baptize mean for those who don't know? It means you immerse yourself in water. When a Christian converts, most Christian groups, they immerse themselves in water. The Catholics will take the baby and they will throw some water on the baby. So the different Christians have different methods of baptism. And Allah is saying, Allah has done something to you that is better than any of this. Sibghat Allah. وَمَنْ أَحْسَنُ مِنَ اللَّهِ صِبْغَةً. And that's another reference to the fitrah. And there's other indirect references to the fitrah, which again we don't have time to get into. And in the hadith is the famous hadith of Abu Hurairah, muttafaq alayh, Bukhari and Muslim, that the Prophet ﷺ said, every single child is born upon the fitrah. مَا مِن مَوْلُودٍ إِلَّا وَيُولَدُ عَلَى الْفِطْرَةِ. Every single child is born upon the fitrah. And then his parents, فَأَبَوَاهُ يُهَوِّدَانِهِ أَوْ يُنَصِّرَانِهِ أَوْ يُمَجِّسَانِهِ. And then his parents, they make him into a Yahudi or a Nasrani or a Majusi. Majusi is Zoroastrian, Parsi, we call them in Urdu, in India and Pakistan, Parsi. So then his parents change him into Yahudi, Nasrani, Majusi. He didn't say then his parents change him into Muslim. He didn't say that. Every child is born upon the fitrah. And then his parents, society, culture changes the fitrah, corrupts the fitrah, alters the fitrah. And then what happens? The child becomes another religion. He didn't say his child changed him to become a Muslim. Why? Because the fitrah, now this is very specific here, be careful. A lot of people say the fitrah is Islam, but this is wrong. The fitrah is not Islam with a capital I. Because Islam means you have 6 pillars you believe in, and 5 pillars you practice. And when the child comes out, the child is not praying 5 times a day. And the child doesn't believe in the 6 pillars. And the child is not a practicing Muslim. And if the child were to grow up, he would still not know how to pray, unless somebody taught him. The fitrah is not the same as Islam with a capital I. This is a big mistake. So, fitrah is not the actual religion of Islam. And the fitrah is something that Allah has ingrained in every single child. It's already there. We don't need to prove the existence of a God. We know it. And that is why in the history of mankind there has never been a society of atheists. No matter how far back you go, you will find every society and religion believed in a God. Even the most ancient Aborigines or people in Africa or tribes of Asia, Mongols, whatever generation you look at, you will find that every society inherently believes in a God. Atheism, by the way, is a modern phenomenon. You should know this. Atheism, as we know it, denying of a God, it was unknown for the bulk of human history. There were no such things as atheists. Before, the first atheist is like 1750, 1770, who publicly says, I don't believe in any God, right? Like a complete philosophy of atheism is a completely modern thing. Why? Because it's ingrained in our fitrah that there's a God. And therefore, the Quran does not have any complicated philosophical proof for the existence of God. It's not needed. We don't need to prove a God exists, it's ingrained in us. The second thing that the fitrah tells us is Allah is our ilah, the one who is worshipped. Ilah means the one who is worshipped. All of mankind, Christians, Buddhists, Hindus, Zoroastrians, they know that there is a Rabb. They might not call him Allah, but they know there's one God, right? They know there's one ultimate God. The third thing that we'll mention is that the fitrah tells us morality. What is morality? Morality means what is good and what is evil. So the fitrah tells us that murder is something bad. That honesty is good. That being good to your parents is good. This is the fitrah. The morality is there.